How about squatting dog?
Squatting dog? That's the best that you could come up with?
I had a dog once who had a terrible case of the squirts. He was my best friend in the whole world.
Didn't you have any other pets?
I had a squirrel named Numbnuts.
I think I'll take squatting dog.
And with that, we launch into our Man of the House podcast. I think that went well.
Sure did.
Yeah.
I just feel like Chevy Chase right now.
Yeah, I thought that was good. The live readings. And, that's an important scene in the film. One of many important scenes in a film that I feel is just an important film overall. And today we are talking about The Man of the House. Jordan, how are you?
I'm doing good. Before this podcast started, I got in the mood. Since this is such a important 90s romantic comedy between Farrah Fawcett and Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
I had Old Blue Eyes, Frankie Sinatra singing to me from Spotify. Really, I feel like I can talk about it now with just the right emotional feelings.
It's one of film's great romances. A lot of people, Bogart and Bacall, or that's really the biggest one. And then there's this one directly underneath it, which is Chevy Chase and Farrah Fawcett. And they're a heck of a match, I would say.
And when you put, think obstacles in the way, such as Ben Archer and
the mob.
The mob.
The Seattle Mafia.
The Seattle Mafia. I think you've got some really winning film right here. And
the winning film is the 1995 version of Man of the House, not to be confused with the Tommy Lee Jones cheerleading movie from the mid to late 2000s, where I don't know. I know it has Cedric the Entertainer. You know it if you've seen it. It's not that one, but they do have the same title, so that might be confusing for some people.
It was confusing for me. I kept trying to find information, and they kept pulling that one up, and I wasn't happy about it.
No, I originally watched the entire film and took notes, and now those notes are useless. We might just have to record it.
You're like, when does JTT pop up?
This is weird. I don't remember that he was in this one. But
Seattle.
Man of the House. Jordan, how do you want to get into this? I guess we should go ahead and play the trailer for folks.
Yeah, let's play the trailer, and then we can come back and roll into it.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
First, his dad split. Then, Mom started dating.
Can't resist a pretty girl. You know what I mean, buddy?
I'm 11. I hate girls. He's so uncool. Did you know he actually irons his jeans?
Now a stranger is moving in.
Morning, Ben.
Oh, Mom.
Ben said the thought of us being in the same bed would be psychologically damaging to him.
This isn't so bad. Did he actually use those words? I can live with this.
Yes. He's a very bright kid.
There's only one way to get his life back to normal.
My advice is to get rid of this guy.
Yeah, but how do I do that? The Indian guides. This Indian guide thing could be the solution to my problem.
Hey, how are you, Jack?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Who's up for a game of potato bowling?
Well, what kind of paint is that?
Just watercolor.
Really, this is just a rash.
The happy face is not technically a native symbol.
The guy's history. Yes.
Picking Indian names for each other is one of the most important Indian guide rituals.
How about squatting dog?
Good name.
Make sure they're the same height.
Well, it doesn't get much better than this.
Walt Disney Pictures presents Chevy Chase and Home Improvement's Jonathan Taylor Thomas in the story of a father-to-be and the son who doesn't want him to be.
Can't get any worse than this.
Man of the House.
Squatting dog? That's the best you could come up with?
I had a squirrel named Numbnuts.
Jordan, the film came out March 3rd, 1995. What are your recollections or memories of when this film came out, or your first time watching this film?
Gosh,
I wish I could because it's art.
It is art, much like several things we made in our youth. But I don't remember as much, I think, as you do about this film. I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I definitely watched it. I do remember it being good. I remember enjoying it quite a bit. I don't remember very much besides the things that I remember from the film before I watched it again was like, oh, this is funny, and it has Chevy Chase, who I like, and that's really all I remembered. Right. I didn't even really remember some of the Indian guide stuff. I didn't remember Farrah Fawcett in it. I certainly didn't remember the mob, but I think you have just a little bit more of a memory of your experience interacting with the man of the house when you were younger. So why don't you share that?
I am 90% sure I saw this for my my birthday.
So there is a chance that you're making this up.
No, I mean, I definitely saw it in theaters, and I think it was... I mean, it came out in March. My birthday's in March coming up as well. And I'm pretty sure that it was associated with just, like, going with my family and seeing this for my birthday. I definitely remember seeing it. Loved it. Remembered much... some of it was a little bit different than I remembered. It's been 23 years, I guess, so that stands to reason. But, I was a big fan of this when it came out, and I think, hopping into the box office, on a $22 million budget, it made $40 million, so it was kind of a modest success. It was distributed by Buena Vista Pictures, which is the same production company as Home Improvement. And I read I know we're probably not doing, like facts, maybe we'll do them sporadically, but I did read that this was something that JTT did during a summer hiatus from Home Improvement. So
I'll go through all the trivia and notes in a minute here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so you remember liking it a lot.
I did like it a lot, yes. Yeah, and I don't think I can't imagine why I would have seen it after that. It's not like anything I remember being on television. I don't think it's talked about very often in terms of the Chevy Chase oeuvre, if you will. So no, I don't think I've seen it since then. So
yeah, I don't. I talked about this to Andrea, and she was excited to watch it with me. So she remembered it as well, but I didn't get her take about the first time she watched it or anything. Did you get Kirsten's?
No, I have not. No, I just watched it today. Home Alone. So it was actually the perfect way to watch it. I had just woken up and I wiped the sleep from my eyes and watched Chevy Chase, just really best the mob. And that's a morning, I'd like to try to replicate again sometime soon. But
Stoyages!
Hey, Stoyages, what are you doing? Hey,
all right.
Seattle, not Brooklyn.
Different accent. So I guess I will read the short synopsis that we have here, and then we can move into the taglines, trivia, writers, all that good stuff. So,
sounds good.
All right, so this synopsis written by Adam Burstein.
That's a pseudonym. That was me.
Oh, okay. I got it. I was hoping that, Adam, you would have written more of these types of things on IMDb, but it's the one and only, so that's unfortunate.
That's too bad.
All right, so Ben Archer, which I didn't realize his last name was Archer. But
I'm seeing it all over the internet. It's not. I don't know that it's ever said in the movie. I don't remember hearing Archer at all. You hear Stoyages, every other line, but Archer was not something I heard often.
It must be the nickname, for his archery skills.
That's pretty on the nose, yeah.
Monroe
gave it to him.
Monroe. All right, so Ben Archer is not happy. His mother, Sandy, has just met a man, and it looks like things are pretty serious. Driven by a fear of abandonment, Ben tries anything and everything to ruin the love bubble which surrounds his mom. However, after Ben and Jack's experiences in the Indian Guides, the two become much closer. So thank you, Adam.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I like, I would say if they're planning on getting married, things are pretty serious indeed. Yeah, that is an understatement, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he moves right in. He doesn't know that she's a vegan. There's a lot of
things like that. He moves in, but also keeps his apartment, which is not a vote of confidence for how the move-in's going to play out. He just happens to keep his old apartment
Sandy,
just in case.
Sandy knows that Ben can just drive men away.
Right,
so. Yeah. All right, so taglines. There's only one tagline for this, and it's not very good.
No, it sucks.
So Jack wants to marry Ben's mother, but there are strings attached.
It doesn't make any sense unless you're looking at the poster, which is JTT sitting in a fancy chair holding a string puppet of Chevy Chase.
But, okay, well, that's good for context. But it's not like we're watching Pinocchio or something.
No, but maybe that's another podcast. JTT is in that Pinocchio adaptation of Martin Landau. It's bad. I guess we're going to be kind of wrestling with the Native American depictions throughout. But to this film's credit, and we'll talk about it later on, this is more, I would say, of paying respects to and an homage to Native American culture than it is like them like making fun of it. I mean, there's a little bit of that here and there, but it is mostly pretty respectful. So I do appreciate them avoiding the temptation to say like he's barking up the wrong teepee or something stupid like that. That would have been kind of offensive. So.
Yeah, I after watching the trailer before we watched it, I expected it to be much worse. So
we'll get into that later on, but it's a little bit complex. But yeah,
we tried to come up with taglines of our own before. I came up with one that was very so-so. It wasn't happening for you, and you weren't trying to force it, which I respect.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, we have a lot of content to cover, so people, they hear our crappy alternate titles every week, so it'll be all right.
I'll just read mine real quick.
Okay, sure.
It's short and sweet. So, Ben thinks his mom's new boyfriend is out of order.
That's pretty good. Yeah, he's a lawyer. Yeah, I like that. That's not bad.
That's about
better.
it.
It's probably better than the one they have. So.
Yeah, no strings though.
Yeah, that's true.
So trivia and notes before we get started.
Mm-hmm.
This movie, there were plans to do a sequel, which never materialized.
I saw that. Yeah, that would have been cool.
What? I mean, what kept them from doing the sequel? I'm wondering. I mean, this was a box office success. Typically,
modest. Yeah. I don't know. I was gonna say, I wrote down the sequel should be called Monroe of the House. So that was my idea. Because at the end, they're kind of setting up, and I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah, they certainly are. Monroe he's come around to the ways.
He at very least Native Americans. So. He gets crowned with the. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess what are they gonna? I mean, it hasn't stopped. Not having a good idea has not prevented production companies or writers from making sequels. So it very easily could have happened here. But I'm not sure there would have been a story to tell. I also saw that Farrah Fawcett referred to the movie as Man to Man.
Man to Man.
Did you come across that?
I did. That was my next trivia.
Do you think that means that she just got the title wrong when she was talking to Larry King, or that was an actual other title? Because it would make sense.
I think it was an actual other title. Okay. I saw that in a couple different places. Right, so cool. It would be funny if she just didn't know the name of the movie.
She's like, I don't know. It's like a man something, man to man. Yeah.
I don't know. There's two men, one little, one tall. Let me ask you this.
Is Man to Man a better title?
No.
Interesting.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah.
Do you think so?
Only because there's another movie now called Man of the House.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But they were there first.
It's true. Yeah, that's their corner.
That's why, I mean, that's just another reason that it's so good, because another movie decided to copy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. What else you got?
And, we like Jungle to Jungle, so...
Yeah, I thought of that as well.
Yeah. So, I didn't see this during the movie, but in a book that Jack is browsing through, it clearly shows the name of Clarice Starling, which is a character from The Silence of the Lambs. Mm-hmm. I did not see that. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it. Nope. But I did keep going, and we'll talk more about other things you're going to say.
All right. Last one that I have here is star Farrah Fawcett and director James Orr were in a relationship. On January 28th, 1998, Orr was convicted of a misdemeanor battery after attacking Fawcett for supposedly refusing his marriage proposal.
Really? I didn't read that. The director of this... Oh, no.
He proposed, terrible. And then she said no, and so he attacked her. That's
no.
That's the worst way to react to bad news, I suppose.
Yeah, that's one way to handle it, and it's not the right way, listeners. I saw some other, and I don't have it in front of me, but I did see that the guy in the beginning, they're doing the kind of opening montage where JTT is like talking about like how stupid all the guys are that his mom dates, and the guy's like running with the kite and falls over. I did see this. That's Ryan O'Neal, who is like he was a pretty big star in the 70s in his own right, and he and Fawcett were married for two different durations. Like, I think they took a break somewhere in the 90s and they got married again. So they were together two times, and that's him as he has a cameo as the guy that falls in the beginning. And I'm trying to think like what I don't have his bio in front of me, but he's a pretty big star, and he was definitely like, when she passed away sadly in 2009, like he was kind of by her side and stuff. So it was nice, even when they weren't together, they were still amicable.
Yep, definitely. That's all I got for trivia. Do you have other notes or trivia that you want to share?
Shot in Vancouver and LA, but passing as Seattle. I was actually kind of surprised to see that it was shot in Vancouver because, I don't know, it had a very Seattle look. I've never been to Seattle, but it
aren't they very, very close to each other?
Is that right?
Yeah, they're like just across the border type of thing.
So perhaps it was a tax break.
It makes
thing.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it did to me, like you said, it did look like Seattle. So, I thought it was somewhere near there.
Other than that, like I said, the JTT thing. No, I don't think so. I maybe the more I think about it, I wish they had done a sequel. But
yeah, it would give us another thing to watch, I guess.
We want to talk about this deadbeat director or what? Jeez, I don't even know.
I do. James Orr, writer on the movie Three Men and a Baby, father of the bride, Sister Act 2, one of your favorites, and a director. The biggest thing that I could find that he also directed was Mr. Destiny.
I'm not familiar with that. Yeah,
Sister Act though.
He wrote both Three Men and a Baby and Sister Act. Three Men and a Baby was so I've heard, a really big hit. I have never seen it.
Father of the Bride was as well, I believe.
Yeah, but he just produced that.
Oh, I have it on writer as well.
Perhaps, but yeah, I mean that was definitely if so, he having anything to do with it is impressive. But those are a couple of big hits, and this was modest, and he has kind of fallen by the wayside. Probably really due to personal demons, it sounds like. But.
Yeah, yep. So writers, we've got David E. Peckinpah, which is a fantastic name, and Richard Jeffries, and then James Orr also worked on the screenplay, and then Jim Cruikshank.
Okay. Yeah.
Not the cat from Harry Potter.
Okay. Just to clarify, it's not the cat. Not the
or
cat.
the Kneasel. Sorry, it's not a cat.
Okay.
Be careful. Be careful.
Sorry,
you said March 3rd, 1995.
Mm-hmm.
I have that too. Rated PG, specifically for some mild thematic elements. I don't know what that means.
Well, there is the part where he's like, "Mom, are you with him because of the sex?" Like that's probably all it took. You can't have a line like that in a G movie.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing I could think of.
Why is it called thematic elements?
Oh, well, sex is a theme. There's also the part later on where he's like, where Chevy Chase is, I don't know, basically they haven't had sex in a long time, and like she's like, I only need 3 hours, and he's like,
So we're gonna say that Home Improvement is definitely PG then.
For sure, yeah. I would say Home Improvement is much harder than this. So
it's probably an X, I would say.
Yeah, NC-17.
Runtime, we got 96 minutes. Back in the days when every movie wasn't 2 hours long.
Yeah, that's. I mean, there's a lot of negative elements of all the like every movie being a Marvel movie, but yeah, it was nice when movies did used to be like 90 to 100 minutes, like consistently.
Yeah. You don't have to drag on as much stuff. Budget. Did you say 15 million?
I said 22. I said $22 million budget. Grossed 40.
Yes.
I would also tack on. 5.1 out of 10 on IMDb, which is low. 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is really low. Almost
low.
Shockingly low. I did see, however, that Walmart gives us a 5 out of 5. So I don't know. I didn't know Walmart was kind of in the movie scoring game, but when I looked on my phone, it said Walmart 5 out of 5. So good to know.
I did want to compare it to Jungle just because it's a little. I think it was 5.9 on IMDb as far as reviews go.
Yeah.
So people liked it less than Jungle to Jungle.
That to me doesn't make sense, but we'll talk more about it. It does. There are Jungle to Jungle comparisons to be made in terms of like the kind of looming mafia threat that is not really in much of the story until the very end. It kind of did remind me of Jungle to Jungle, but we'll get there. And I think, are we ready to start the plot?
I think we're there, man.
All right, and you said your notes are pretty bad, and I took about 4 pages worth. So hey, it's
initially I was taking some notes on my computer, and then I just decided let's just take it all in. I want to really focus on the movie and just capture everything. So I closed my laptop, and what a mistake that was.
I heard you also closed your eyes during some of the mafia scenes because you found them so frightening.
I was nervous.
And you said Stoigus.
I was super nervous. To this day, when I hear Stoigus, I kind of yelp in fear. So I did that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You wanted to keep going with this bit. Go ahead.
I thought it was worth it. No, go ahead.
I was gonna shift gears to I guess the elephant in the room is this is a movie that depicts like Native American culture. In the film, they are they're Indian guides, and that's what their title is.
That is the name of their organization.
That is the name of their organization, is Indian Guides. So we will be referring to them as Indian Guides. Anytime there is a Native American in the film, there is one gentleman, we will be referring to him as a Native American. It's very, very hard. I don't want to offend anyone. I want to be only very, very respectful to everyone's culture. So we're being mindful of that. Isn't that right, Jordan?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, hey, you know, after the last episode, hey, PC police, stay away from me.
Did somebody attack you on Twitter or something that I wasn't aware of?
I think I'm just always worried they're going to.
Yeah, it's always in the back of your head.
I used to be kind of like shock jock, like Howard Stern, but now I'm closer.
There's a reason that you've taken some videos off of YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Now I'm closer to Howard J. Morris.
Oh, definitely.
All right, rolling in. All right, establishing shots of Seattle. Some sentimental music.
Oh, yeah, some soft piano music for sure.
JTT voiceover. You're only going to get this at the beginning and the end.
That's right.
It's weird.
You know, I didn't really think they needed a different actor, but they saw fit to have an actor that was maybe 3 or 4 years younger than JTT at the time.
Yeah, doesn't really look a lot like him though.
No. Looks a lot more like Brad to me.
It's so what's the word? I don't know. Like so it's basically like he's describing his dad ran off with the secretary and the car's driving down the road and you just get the dad sticking his hand out, just waving once. And then the secretary, she waves once, and it's just very melodramatic.
That wave though, that wave is in the movie.
Though. Yeah, you said it.
That wave though is in the movie more than like the mafia people, I think.
That's good. It's poignant.
It's very poignant. They're going to call back to it. So hope you paid attention.
It's
funny that everyone
house.
waves that way, actually.
Yeah, they're really making it count. It's the last time you're ever going to see me, son. Here's my wave. They live in a sweet house right on, like every house in this movie. I guess there's only 2. Both of them are,
but all of them
very, very much like on the water. Very wealthy. You get the feeling that Farrah Fawcett's wealthy. I don't know how necessarily.
Couldn't really find out what she does.
I mean, I think she's an artist. Both a sketch artist in the court and a artist on her own.
That's right, sketch artist. That's correct. So she's working multiple gigs. She's kind of like the side hustle before the side hustles were.
I mean, if you're gonna be an artist, you got to have a side hustle because, hey man, I don't know, it takes a while to get to a certain level.
That's exactly why we have a side hustle. Because it's taken a while.
JTT continues his voiceover by talking about his mom dating jerks. This is where we get Ryan O'Neal running with the kite and kind of falling over. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm immediately at this point getting like this movie like very much like walks a line where it's almost sort of creepy JTT and kind of like his mommy issues. Like he's so controlling and compulsive and like not willing to let her, he's a child, but like so against her dating anyone or being with another man that it does kind of walk this line where it's like, is this sort of creepy? And in the beginning, it kind of felt that way to me.
It's kind of a little bit of Oedipus complex. The kite guy, Ryan O'Neal, I think you said his name was, he looks like a nice guy to me. I mean, he's just running around with a kite and falls. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
JTT thinks everyone is a loser. And I, in terms of trying to call people by their names in the movie, I don't know. I'll do my best. But
his name is Ben, but Ben and Jack are... And I mean, Ben and Jack, they're just interchangeable names, really, to me. Yeah. So it's tough. But he. There's also another important thing that him and his mom have besides their relationship, and it's this wall full of debris.
It's really bad.
I hope there's not any sort of bugs on there because that could really ruin your home real quick. But they get stuff from the beach. And they bring it back and they put it on the wall. Yeah, it's really another. And
it's just something they do together. It's just like their thing, and it kind of bookends the film in a really effective way. Doesn't really play a role throughout though, just kind of beginning and end. But it's basically just a wall of beach crap.
There should have been a point where he gets really mad and breaks the wall and everything. Yeah. Everything falls down or lights it on fire, something.
They moved to a pretty sweet loft. It's a sweet
They
loft.
say it's not that nice and they had to do a lot of work, but initially I saw it and I was like, ooh.
Maybe it's like our definition of like, what is nice now versus what is nice then, because that just like looks like what very fancy like Brooklyn kind of loft. It's like exposed beams and kind of cold and impersonal, but
very open.
Yeah, very 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 open concept. Yeah. We cut to 5 years later, and I don't really. I mean, does anything happen at the end of this kind of montage? It's just basically like JTT is very domineering. He loves his mom. He doesn't want her to get married, and she's thinking
like
about
at the end, she's finally found someone she wants to marry.
Yeah, but it's as if like JTT and Chevy Chase are just meeting each other in this movie. Like I don't know how long she's been together, but like when they finally come face to face, it's as if like it's been like a weekend. Before.
It's like JTT is a like rabid dog in the house, and so Chevy Chase can't come home ever.
Gosh. It's pretty
to see him. So they've
absurd.
only been out in public together. Apparently, they haven't eaten together because Chevy Chase doesn't know any of her eating habits. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
there's I mean, with all due respect to Farrah Fawcett, she's a real wet blanket in this movie. I mean, a real wet blanket. Let's cut to the Seattle courthouse.
Please.
Chevy is a question mark. What's his job officially?
He's the district attorney, so he's prosecuting criminals for the state.
Okay. Well, that's good. And he prosecutes a mafioso who kind of threatens him vaguely. But
he just says, I hope you have a good life, and I hope nothing bad happens to you.
And Chevy's like, hey, I ain't scared of no mafia.
Also, we should say Farrah Fawcett is there sketching.
Yeah, she's there sketching. So apparently we can assume that's how they met. The mobster is sentenced to 50 years. That's a long time.
He's not going to make it.
This is where we meet the three bumbling mafiosos.
I didn't get the other names besides Joey.
Who cares, really? Like, I mean, there's the main guy who is, what's his name?
Joey.
Oh, Joe. Oh, his name is Joey. Okay. Well, we'll talk about him in a second. But, like, there's these three guys, and, I mean, it is, like, as cliche as a mafia depiction could be. They're wearing suits the whole time, and they talk with these thick Brooklyn accents, and they're all, like, vaguely Italian. But they're mad because Sturgis has sentenced, and I mentioned this before, but, like, this Joey guy is, like, 55 years old, and his dad, who is apparently like older, looks the exact same age. So it's a little
5
confusing.
years max difference in their age. So.
If you told me that the son was older than the father, I wouldn't actually be surprised.
Yeah.
I'll talk just briefly about this mafioso Joey, Richard Portnow, and I would say his stoigus is one thing I definitely remembered about this film. He has been in films such as Trumbo, Hitchcock. He did some episodes of The Sopranos. He was in The Good Wife. 195 credits to his name, and he has been doing a lot this year even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things coming out this year. I can't speak to their quality. I don't necessarily know, but he's working on TV more now these days. But
he's one of those people that you see all the time, but you never know his name.
Right? Yeah, like he was in Parks and Recreation. He was in 3 episodes as Mitch Savner, so that's big. But yeah, he's a very familiar guy. I like him in this movie. I'm not going to say that he's necessarily good, but I do enjoy him.
He's I'm going to say cartoonish, but
but it's a Disney movie, so I guess like, do you want gritty, real mafia types in a Disney movie? Okay.
Kind of. Yeah. What about his 2 buddies? Can we get some deets on them? Are they in anything at all? Do we know their name?
Do I have to?
I don't know. I feel like we should.
I don't even know their names in the movie, so finding information on them would be pretty difficult.
All right, Murray and Tony, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I don't want to. It seems like too much work. They are so like, yeah, it's like mafioso in a can. Like it's just like so stock. They have no defining characteristics.
Maybe like 5 lines in the whole movie.
Yeah, they're old and very bumbling. They're too old to be playing the roles they're playing, I would say.
All right. I guess we'll wait and do Chevy Chase's bio a little bit later. Farrah Fawcett a little bit later as well. Okay. So we move on from this courtroom, and now we're in an art museum. Farrah Fawcett and Chevy Chase are hanging out there. Chevy's kind of chatting about bringing stuff over. I mean, they're just setting up that they're going to move in together, I guess, at this point, right?
Yep.
Not much to it to me.
Yeah, no, that's about it. We cut to, and this is a weird, like, JTT is walking on the beach with Farrah Fawcett, and he's like, why are you getting married? And he's like, it's all about sex, isn't it? Which is just like a gross line for how old is he supposed to be? Like 12?
He's in middle. Yeah, I was going to say middle school, 12, 13.
I mean, I guess maybe a 12-year-old would say that, but it's just like gross. I don't need that in my Disney family comedy. And I also don't need JTT to be saying that, frankly.
Yeah, it's really sullying his image. But he says it.
But yeah, around the same time, Chevy's moving in. Chevy, I gotta start trying to say his name. Jack Stoiges. He's moving in, and JTT is not being helpful at all. He
will continue to be unhelpful. He for a very,
is not
very
even
long
trying
time.
to act like he's not miserable by this whole thing, and it's not just like ruining his life. Chevy takes it all in stride. There's a scene where like he's showering and JTT really needs to get into the bathroom, so it's the old run the water, make it cold. I did like around this time how like I don't know, you know, in terms of like every specific scene, we'll probably skip around a little bit, but like Chevy leaves the bathroom, JTT goes in and kind of rummages through what's in the cabinet, and he's like, oh, what does he see? He like picks up deodorant and he's like, what is this? He's like, what a dork, this guy. And it's just like regular deodorant. So I was surprised that JTT doesn't have a familiarity with that.
Yeah, he must smell pretty bad. But, you know, when you're out on the beach all the time, you just get that natural beach smell.
And then he picks up his allergy medicine. He's like, he has allergies? What a freaking dork this guy is. So like,
and that's exactly why I couldn't enjoy him in this movie. Yeah. He started attacking me, basically.
Yeah. So I don't know. He's not letting anything go. He's really looking for reasons not to like him.
But he doesn't give him a shot, and this kind of leads up to like the first night together. And you know, Jack wants to sleep in the same room as Sandy.
Yeah, because they moved in together. Kind of makes sense. Kind of stands to reason.
It seems like that's what they would be going for. But you know, Ben pulls the card of saying it would be kind of like emotionally disturbing for him, and he couldn't handle it. So
Farrah Fawcett really lets Ben call the shots in her life. Like, she makes no effort to stand up for him. And this is, like, among one of the, like, least believable elements of the movie, I would say. Like, no. Like, you're not... If you're committing to having Chevy Chase move in, like, he's moving in. You're not going to do this, like, halfway kind of thing because your snotty little kid can't handle it. You know, it's just crazy.
And the scene is shown on, I think, the trailer as well, where he's kind of in this makeshift bed, and he's like, okay, I can deal with this, and then the bottom falls out, and then the top falls out, and so he's gonna have a rough night, you know?
Do you wonder why he didn't move to the couch that was right behind him?
I was wondering why they even needed that bed in general.
Yeah, it was funny, though. It's funny. It's funny when it fell. Actually, like, I thought a lot of things in this were funny, and I'll be happy to let you know.
Yeah, you were reliving some nostalgic memories, which is fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's my prerogative.
Sure is. So, you know, like you said,
Chevy's making a big breakfast.
He's making a big breakfast. You know, I read somewhere that apparently JTT messed with the blender. I don't remember seeing that part in the movie.
Must have been cut.
Yeah, it must have been cut. Time. But Chevy's trying to make a good go of it. He's going to make a nice breakfast for Sandy and for Ben. And, you know, immediately he's kind of inept in the kitchen. He forgets to put the top on the blender and it starts going everywhere. And
he's both inept and also kind of masterful because it's a combination of both, which, hey, it's you know, some of the best, some of the most beautiful messes in the world. You know, that's art. But like he manages to like catch the toast when it comes out of the toaster, but at the same time he's like, I can't keep everything in this blender. What's this all about? So it's a mix, and that's life, you know.
You get the idea that if he was focused on one task at a time, he could really nail it.
And I think that's true to life. I think we could really attribute that to all of us.
I think our society just really needs to rein back the multitasking. So this really speaks to that even in the 90s.
I like that you're coming, you know, you seldom take a hard stance on something, so I really appreciate you saying that and sharing.
It's time to do it.
Yes.
I've been waiting until right now.
It's more important than ever right now, multitasking.
So what's in this breakfast that he's trying to make? You said toast. I think there's some sort of meat.
It's a Benedict.
Bacon. Oh, that's right. He goes with some eggs.
Yeah, Sturgis Benedict or something. Benedict a la Sturgis.
But Ben comes in. One of the first things he sees
he goes, "What are you doing? What are you making?" It's like, it's eggs, kid. Like, have you lived? Like, what do you mean?
There's one reason why he doesn't know what it is.
Oh, this made me so mad. Go ahead.
Their house seems to be vegan. They also have like all of the like recyclables separate from the trash, and I think they have composting as well. So Jack starts to throw things all into one thing, and Ben has to set him straight, and then Ben has to set him straight because it seems like Sandy and Ben are also vegans here, so they're not going to eat that egg breakfast that he's making.
I don't know that. I didn't get that. I didn't necessarily get that the kid was a vegan.
Well, I mean, I think he just does whatever.
He does whatever his mom does.
Yeah, he pulls her strings and she makes him food, I guess. That's what I get from this movie.
Well, it's what made me mad about this was Farrah Fawcett comes down, Sandy, and she's like, no, Chevy Chase like woke up early and made this big breakfast for everybody, and she's like, breakfast is our thing, like every day. We like granola and blah blah blah, and she's acting as if it's like this was something he shouldn't have done, or like he should have known better than to make breakfast. Which
she does this a lot in this movie.
Yeah, and she like really hangs him out to dry. And if it were me in this, I'd be like, hey, look, I'm just trying to, make the kid like me. I'm trying to do what's best. I live here now. So like I'm gonna make eggs sometime. It's just crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. And later on, I think there is a scene. I don't remember if it's just like in the house, and I don't remember exactly what it's about. But it's the same thing where she really hangs him out to dry.
I know, yeah,
and and just blames everything on him and not on her kid, who is obviously manipulating her.
I feel like this would have been one of the early movies where there's such attention to recycling detail. I mean, this is like 1995. I can't. Yeah. I mean, like, to be so specific.
I thought that myself as well. With the composting and the separate cans and all that kind of stuff going on. It was ahead of its time. Are you saying Man of the House is ahead of its time?
I mean, that goes without saying. In a lot of different ways. But this is just one of those ways. Storages, you composting.
So, at this point, I think we go to school.
Monroe!
And it's time to meet Ben's best friend, Monroe. And they're talking at lunch. Ben is introducing his current crisis at home. And
Hell yeah.
Monroe has some ideas about how to get rid of him. I don't remember what they are. Did you write those down?
No. No, I didn't. But basically, I did notice there's some pretty big product placement here.
Oh, what was there?
JTT's drinking Minute Maid. Monroe's drinking Cherry Coke.
Nice.
Or Cherry Pepsi. I don't know,
one of those. Be careful.
Hey, sorry.
Yeah, Monroe agrees, though. Like, we gotta get rid of this guy ASAP.
Monroe is his only friend at school, seemingly. At least for right now.
It's the only one that we see around. And I think immediately after this, we cut to the hallway. No one's in the hallway. They're late for class, I guess. But we do hear a noise coming from the locker, a very small locker that seems to be talking. And they go investigate. Turns out there's a little boy in there, and he comes out. He's got I guess they have like a leather jacket kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not like the
like
cool...
a vest almost?
Yeah, a vest, and it's got like the...
beads and so on.
Beads and all that kind of stuff. So he tells him a little bit about the Indian Guide Club that him and his father are in pretty willingly.
This kid really, like, this depiction, this kid's a pretty good little actor, really made me sad. I don't know. I just like...
Yeah.
It's a performance that works, but it just, like, the bullying part of this really bummed me out for whatever reason. And later on, there's a scene where they're on the rooftop, and it's just really, really sad. So it's good acting, yeah.
Yeah, he's sad, but he does hand out a little Indian Guide pamphlet, and Ben gets a light bulb above his head.
Yeah, and Ben goes, "This is strictly Twilight Zone." What does that mean?
I don't know.
Did you hear him say that? Like, what?
I did.
What could that it's weird. Like, I don't like that's whoever wrote that. Like, shame on you. I mean, you can use a Twilight Zone as a pejorative 95% of the time, but this is not one of those times. It did not work.
But Ben's gonna take this idea. It's a weird thing for him
What was
to
his
do.
plan here? Like, he sees a thought bubble, but like, what is the thought? I mean, we know what happens, but like, what is he foresee happening.
So he thinks that this group is obviously very lame, and having Ben go with him and try to bond together throughout this, I think he sees it as something that's so lame that Jack will leave the house. It's not a very good plan.
No, not at all. But I mean, I guess he's 12, so aren't a lot of options at his disposal. So
it's strictly Twilight Zone.
There should have been an alternative title.
So he's going to make Jack uncomfortable and unwelcome as he possibly can. And they go to, I guess this is the first meeting that they go to with led by Norman Bronsky. Mm-hmm. Or no, is Norman's the kid,
and that's a cute little. It's George Wendt, and George Wendt plays what's his name in the film? George Wendt,
Chief Running Horse. That's for sure.
Sure. His actual name is Chet Bronsky, and his son is Norman, and that's like a wink to his character on Cheers.
Do you remember the last Chet we heard about?
Yeah, it's that reindeer in Santa Claus 2. How could I forget? I'll give a George Wendt bio as we're here. George Wendt, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. Best known for Norm Peterson on Cheers.
Sometimes you wanna go.
Yeah, it's a memorable performance. He was also in Fletch with Chevy Chase, which I really like that movie. Forever Young, Spice World, 139 credits to his name. I would say that Cheers is his most well-known role in terms of things he's done lately. More TV work. He did some good stuff on the Larry Sanders Show, I remember. But I do like George Wendt. I'm always happy to have him pop up, and this was no exception.
Good performance. Let me ask you, have we talked about Cheers before? It seems to come up on a lot of different Home Improvement episodes. As far as people who have been on that show.
I've only, about a year ago, I tried to get into it, and I watched the whole first season, and I liked it. I enjoyed my experience, but
you didn't keep going.
I just didn't keep going. Yeah, I did think it was good and well-made, and I definitely understand the appeal, but I've only really seen the first season. So what about you?
Yeah, I liked it a lot when I was younger for some reason.
Yeah.
I think it was on reruns at night on TBS or something, so I watched it quite a bit. I liked it so much that I remember, I think we were at a Cincinnati airport and they had a Cheers restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And I had to eat there. It was like a pilgrimage for me at that moment. But it was also very sad because I remember the day that we went there was the day where they were. Do you remember those DC sniper shootings? That guy was shooting out of a trunk.
Ooh, I don't actually remember that. It sounds familiar, but I don't recall.
It was back in 2002, early 2000s, or something like that. Yeah. But I just. Because of the culmination of those... It
colored the experience.
It did. I was there excited to have a cheeseburger and whatever else I probably ate as a young kid.
Yeah.
But then I was also devastated
Cheers
at all
bar
this
at
news.
The Cincinnati airport. That's... I've heard that that's one of the better Cheers bars. And I heard that that's one of the best airports, too.
Yeah, definitely.
That's hilarious. George Wendt, he's good. He's good. He's real good.
He puts it in good...
Good analysis.
So he is in kind of the leader of this. Him and Norm kind of started this whole chapter. I guess it's affiliated with the YMCA. It's a father-son program to get them to kind of bond, and they do it through various outdoor activities. We'll see some of those later when they do archery, and they really take on the Native American culture that surrounds that area, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they give each other, one of the bonding activities that they do is they give each other nicknames, I guess, which is kind of the scene that we acted out earlier. That was just...
Yeah, that's about as close to this movie comes as being problematic, I would say. Just because, Squatting Dog is kind of being used as, it could be a Native American nickname, but it's also kind of a joke. So at that point, it's kind of toting the line. But the rest of it is fairly tasteful, I would say. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess I say that, but the very next thing they say is the hi how are the hi how are you? Yeah, it's like a chant.
That's their meeting or their greeting.
Yeah, but that's all. Yeah, so they say. They say that they say that that's their official greeting, but it's also very much hi how are you? And kind of being played as a joke. But I swear the rest of the film's okay.
So some of the other people that are at this meeting, we've got Art LaFleur.
We're dangerously close to just becoming an Art LaFleur podcast. I feel like we're one more Art LaFleur cameo away from just like Artcast, not being about actual art either.
That's fine by me. His character is named Red, I believe. And his character in this movie is kind of the rule keeper. Like, he always says point of order whenever George Wendt or Chet does
they
something. They
refer to him later on as a perfectionist. That's not really what I would call it. He's more of a Poindexter.
Stickler?
A Poindexter?
Yeah, that's fine.
6 of one, half a dozen the other.
He wants everything to go by the book.
Yeah, which sounds like a Poindexter to me.
And Chet is more freewheeling, and so they have a meeting of the minds quite often.
This Art LaFleur character reminded me a lot of you, I would say.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Go on.
No, that's it. That's the start and the end of that.
Thanks.
That's all
you know who reminded me a lot of you?
Don't say like. I mean, probably Joey, the mafioso.
No, I'm thinking Silent Thunder.
Oh no!
You're the strong silent type.
So we got George Wendt, we got Art LaFleur, and we got Silent Thunder.
Lloyd Small.
Yeah, what's your perception? It's just how do you even say it? His son, he and his son are both. They don't talk at all, and it's not that they're deaf.
It's by choice. It's like a vaudeville performance.
That's exactly what I wrote. I wrote Silent Thunder does some vaudeville act. What do you like it? Like, does that work for you? I'm really curious. What do you think of this? What do you think of this guy? Like, is it funny?
It's incredibly strange. The only part of the movie where it works for me is when Jack and Lloyd try to put up the tent.
Well, that's freaking hilarious. That's freaking hilarious. Yeah, I mean,
that's just that's just hijinks.
Obviously,
other than that, it's very strange.
Super weird. It's like, oh man, I watch a bunch of indies for one of my side hustles, and like this reminded me of something that would be like in an experimental foreign film or something. Like he's like pantomiming. It's super very surreal, I would say. It's just very bizarre. That's all I got to say. I mean, like, it wholly does not belong in this movie at all. Like, I don't know where that idea came from. Yeah, I have no idea. So strange.
Very, 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 very strange. So that's kind of the cast of characters that we have here.
Yeah.
These four father and son duos.
Yeah. His vaudeville act is...
So yeah, he gets up and performs.
Yeah, like at the first meeting. It doesn't really relate to like Native American culture in any way, but like, just kind of a thing he can do, I guess, so they make it work.
This is the way that he expresses himself?
Yeah, I wrote that this would probably kill in the room, though. Like, if you're there watching this guy do this, it's probably great,
Jack's not impressed, though.
Yeah, well, he's a little older.
He'll be impressed.
Yeah,
he'll be impressed later.
In time. They're going to do some potato bowling tonight.
Ooh. I wonder who wins. Did they talk about that?
Probably let Norman win. He needs a victory.
Red makes sure that they do potato bowling because I think there was another game that we were going to play, but they played that last week.
Yeah, and just relating back to him being very, very
point of order,
Robert's rules, that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, and that is the end of part 1 of our special Man of the House episode for the Home and Podcast. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be coming up in your feed, and take care.